Before we get started, I gotta get some water. I'm real thirsty. My fridge is broken. That's strange. Just, maybe I'll just get a new glass and try the sink instead. Let's see, I'll just put you down right here and some water. My water's broken. Oh man. What's the matter? My water is red. I'm so thirsty, I can't drink this. No water for me. The fridge, the faucet, even my water bottle. It was red. What has happened to my water? I bet the Egyptians felt this way. When God sent the 10 plagues, the first plague was turning water to blood. Ew. The Nile River, every basin they had with water in it turned to blood. Nothing to drink, nothing to shower in. It was smelly. God sent these 10 plagues because he had a plan. Now, the focal verse of today comes from Exodus 7. I'm going to read it to you. Tell me, is Exodus in the Old or the New Testament? Let's look at my Bible. It's in the Old Testament. That's right. Genesis, Exodus. It's the second book of the Old Testament. So in Exodus 7, beginning in verse 3, God says, I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and though I multiply my miraculous signs and wonders in Egypt, he will not listen to you, Moses. Then I will lay my hand on Egypt, and with mighty acts of judgment, I will bring out my divisions, my people, the Israelites, and the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I stretch out my hand against Egypt and bring the Israelites out of it. God can do anything, right? He could have just been like, Pharaoh, free these people. Okay, freedom for the Israelites. But would that have showed off how powerful and awesome our God is? You see, God had a plan. So he hardened Pharaoh's heart enough for it to last through 10 terrible plagues so that he could show just how powerful he was. So I'm going to show you guys some silly pictures. These are Egyptian gods. You could see them if you went to Egypt in the pyramids. There's drawings of them. These gods look kind of silly. This is the god of creation and water. Here's a goddess of nature and magic, a god of knowledge. Is that a bird? I'm not sure. They had a god that looks like a bull, and he was the god of strength and fertility. They had a goddess of medicine and magic. Look at this god. This god is a cat. Here's another one. This god has a sun on top of his head. And there's the last one. So the Egyptians prayed to these gods and thought, that they were bigger than our God, than the Israelites' God. And so God sent all these plagues to say, I'm the only one. So we're going to look at the 10 plagues in a really neat song. I hope it's catchy. And we're going to see how he debunks all of these gods and says, you're nothing. So before we begin our song, get a piece of paper and divide it into 10 parts. And then you'll see that I have written the verses that each plague comes from. So I encourage you to read this. It can be pretty long, beginning in Exodus 7 verses 14 all the way through Exodus 12. And then of course you'll need some colors. So come back to this video when you're ready. Okay, this song is to the tune of This Old Man. Here we go. First God sent plague number 1, turned the Nile into blood. All the people in Egypt were feeling pretty low. They told Pharaoh, let them go. Let's draw a drop of blood. Everything turned to blood. Then God sent plague number 2, jumping frogs all over you. All the people in Egypt were feeling pretty low. They told Pharaoh, let them go. All right, let's draw a frog. Then God sent plague number 3, swarms of gnats from head to knee. All the people in Egypt are feeling pretty low. They told Pharaoh, let them go. These gnats are also described as lice. I hope you've never gotten lice before. But I'm going to draw a little person. And this little person has these gnats biting all over. These gnats were everywhere in Egypt, bothering the people. Then God sent plague number 4, filthy flies, need we say more? All the people in Egypt are feeling pretty low. They told Pharaoh, let them go. There were just pesky flies buzzing around everywhere. Did you have flies at your barbecue yesterday on top of your food while you were outside? Did they ever buzz around in your ear? They can be real annoying. Then God sent plague number 5, all the livestock up and died. All the people in Egypt are feeling pretty low. They told Pharaoh, let them go. So let's pretend that this is a cow. I'm gonna give him some legs. And he's dead. So there was no hamburgers to eat. Then God sent plague number 6, boils and sores to make you sick. All the people in Egypt are feeling pretty low. They told Pharaoh, let them go. Boils, like chicken pox, or maybe like a rash you get if you're allergic to grass and you lay down in the grass and you get these bumps on your skin and they itch, itch, itch. All the people suffered from them. Then God sent plague number 7, hail and lightning down from heaven. All the people in Egypt are feeling pretty low. They told Pharaoh, let them go. So they had these big hailstorms. Huge balls of hail came down from the sky, ruining all the crops and the animals that were left. Then God sent plague number 8, locusts came and they sure ate. All the people in Egypt are feeling pretty low. They told Pharaoh, let them go. So whatever the hail didn't get, the locusts, the grasshoppers got. And they just ate up all of the grass, the corn, the crops. They just munched little holes so that the people had nothing to eat. Then God sent plague number 9, total darkness all the time. All the people in Egypt were feeling pretty low. They told Pharaoh, let them go. So imagine sitting in your closet in pitch black for 3 whole days. How would you find the bathroom? How would you make yourself something to eat? You wouldn't be able to see your hand in front of your face. So this one is total darkness. Then God sent plague number 10. Pharaoh's son died, so he gave in. All the people in Egypt were feeling pretty low. Finally, Pharaoh let them go. So the last plague was the worst plague of all. We talked about it 4 months ago during the Passover time. The Israelites put blood above their door. But if they didn't have blood above the door, then they lost the firstborn son. So we're going to draw a sad face. And Pharaoh lost his son. And finally, he freed the Israelites. So now you have a visual and a song to remember the 10 plagues. Hopefully your drawings are a little bit better than mine. I'm not as artistic as Mary Sue Osborne. But I want to take a moment just to re-look at some of the plagues and the silly God pictures that I showed you earlier. So God sent each of these plagues to debunk the Egyptians' gods. The first couple of plagues here, Pharaoh had magicians and sorcerers, and they could do the same thing. When the water was turned to blood, they were able to do it too. So Pharaoh wasn't that worried. He didn't think that there was our God. And so as he got further along in the plagues, he realized that his sorcerers couldn't do it anymore. His sorcerers were getting kind of nervous. And he was praying to all of these gods, but they weren't doing anything because they weren't real. So I really like plague number 5 when God took all the livestock, because if you remember, they had a god that looked like a bull. And this was God's way of saying, he's not real. I will strike down all of your livestock. And when all of them got these boils on their skin, do you think that the goddess of medicine and magic was able to heal them? No. And so Pharaoh started telling Moses, okay, please go pray to your God and tell him to take it away, and I'll let your people go. And so Moses did. He went and prayed. God took it away. And Pharaoh hardened his heart and said, nope, they're not leaving. Why did God do that? Because God's work wasn't done yet. So he had to send the Egyptians through all of this hardship so that they would know that he's the one true God. So after all the livestock died, he sent the hail. Whatever the hail didn't kill, he sent the locust to eat up. And then plague number 9 is also one of my favorites, because Ra, god of the sun, is a very important god to the Egyptians. They thought that he brought up the sun every morning. But when God brought darkness, everybody sat in darkness for 3 days. God said, where is he? Why hasn't he brought up the sun? Because I'm the only God. Worship me. And it also told the Israelites just how powerful their God was, so that they would trust him when he led them out of Egypt. So in the last plague, the Passover, now a festival that the Jews still recognize today, and that God told Moses and all of his descendants after him to continue doing. The Passover was to remember God's mighty power and how he took Pharaoh's firstborn son, and Pharaoh finally let the people go. So just remember that all of these plagues were for a purpose. God hardened Pharaoh's heart so he could bring on the plagues to show that these gods are nothing, and to show the Israelites that he is the almighty, powerful God who we still have today. Remember that always.